So there I was, scrolling through Scryfall, throwing together a mono blue wizards list to relive the glory days of my old Azami, when, through some random wacky search term, I stumbled upon Riptide Shapeshifter. Riptide Shapeshifter is a 5-drop 3/3 shapeshifter with pay 2 and 2 blue, sacrifice this creature, choose a creature type, and then reveal cards off the top of your library until you reveal a creature of that type, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle the rest into your library. Naturally, I did what every sane deck builder does when they find a new weird card. I dropped everything I was doing and tried to see if I could build a deck around this. The idea of filling a deck with a toolbox of creatures that all had to be different creature types was very exciting to me, and after just a few hours and some tweaking the following days, I had my Riptide Shapeshifter masterpiece. Sometimes in Commander, the cards we want to play most are sadly not legal in the command zone, but don't worry, that's not the end of the line. It just means we have to get a bit creative to figure out how we want to consistently cast our pet cards. This video is about secret commanders, how to build around them, and maybe it can offer a different perspective on deck building that you haven't considered, so let's get into it. A secret commander is simply a card in the 99 that you're looking to play every game. It usually has a unique effect that amplifies or straight up is your game plan. A while back, I made a video about Begin the Invasion, a Woolberg sorcery that fetches a ton of battles and puts them directly into play. I called that deck a toolbox deck, but low-key it ended up being a combo deck more than anything else with toolbox elements, and that deck was a secret commander deck. My whole game plan hinges on casting this huge bomb spell that rockets me into a winning position, and there's no other substitute for Begin the Invasion in the game. When building a secret commander, the actual commander is a pretty crucial choice. It adds a layer of consistency that streamlines your strategy, and really it's what makes a lot of secret commander decks possible. Commanders that tutor are obvious first choices here. Stuff like Zur the Enchanter, Rocco Cabaretti Caterer, and Momir Vig are great examples, but there are a ton of other options in all sorts of identities. If you're looking for a tutor commander, head over to Scryfall, search is:commander, otag:tutor, then if you want to just include commanders that can run your secret commander, type ID is equal to or greater than, and then the color identity of your secret commander. So for example, if it's let's say Sunforger, you can type Boros or WR or whatever, and you'll see that each of these options are at least Boros or can run Boros cards in them. For the sake of building a Sunforger secret commander deck, Kellen the Fayblooded is hard to beat, since it guarantees Sunforger on turn 3 every game. Things aren't always this simple though. What if your secret commander is harder to fetch? Let's say it's Relive the Past, a 7-mana sorcery in green-white, 2 colors that are terrible at fetching spells. Using the same Scryfall search, we see no commanders capable of grabbing this card on their own, but there are some commanders here that grab a wide variety of other options. Maybe you pick Captain Sisay to curve into Tamio's Journal and perfectly tutor Relive the Past by turn 7, or maybe you grab Sisay Weatherlight Captain and fetch Sidisi or Varagoth and find the same spell that way. Sometimes a chain of tutors are necessary, but that opens up more room for a toolboxy deck that can find valuable answers at each stage of the chain. If you can't find a reliable tutor for the command zone, there's nothing wrong. What? Nothing wrong. If you can't find a reliable tutor in the command zone, there's nothing wrong with running a redundancy of tutors in your 99 that help you do your thing. Black grabs anything, blue is best at grabbing instants, sorceries, and artifacts, white can get enchantments, planeswalkers, and creatures that meet a certain prerequisite, usually being small or legendary, and green can grab lands and creatures of all sizes. If your secret commander doesn't have the relevant colors of their type, consider splashing that color to find a commander to lead the new identity. As a side note, I'd stray away from running a redundancy of unconditional tutors like Demonic, just because not only does it create a really difficult balancing act in the deck building stage since you have to make your secret commander the most desirable target, but they also draw more attention to you since your opponents are naturally going to assume the worst and try to kill you faster. For Relive the Past, Bant would likely be the best option, giving us access to blue tutors and ways to reuse the sorcery. The choice for commander then would instead be something that helps set up our graveyard for when we finally have our secret commander in hand. I may be a bit biased since I've been wanting to build this commander for a while now, but Tocasia would likely be a good fit, allowing us to dig for our tutors faster and throw important artifacts, enchantments, and lands into grave for later reanimation. Recently in our Discord, someone posted a Giggling Spitterspike secret commander deck looking for advice. The idea is to mutate Brockos onto Spitterspike, make it monstrous, and target it with various spells to nuke everyone for 11 damage each time. The number one thing I noticed right off the bat is that there were only 3 tutors in the deck, and one of them didn't even fetch Spitter Spike. So naturally, with the little time that I had to make suggestions, I added 4 more to the list to make it a smoother experience. If you're looking for some deck advice or just want to hang out with some other cardboard junkies, feel free to join our Discord for free in the description, and maybe you'll be featured in a video one of these days.
Hey you! Stop right there! Like and subscribe to this video! If you don't subscribe right now, I'll counter every spell you cast! It seriously helps! And if you want a new playmat, you can go to inkmats.com and use code CBJ at checkout to buy our playmats for 15% off!
I'll take it from here, Wiz.
Certainly!
You can also become a member and get your name put at the beginning of every video. We're still trying to work out what other perks we want, so just let us know down in the description and we'll pretty much make it happen. Also head to pinfinityar.com/CJ and use code CJ at checkout for 20% off your order of enamel pins. Like this one? Like this Fibblethip one? Whoa! Thanks for all the support, now back to the video. While building around a secret commander, it's important not to get lost in the sauce and rely too much on only executing your plan. The unfortunate reality is your opponents are going to play counterspells, exile removal, and really all sorts of disruption that completely remove your SC from the equation. If this happens, you have to have a deck that still functions on its own unless you run consistent protection, reanimation, and counterspells yourself. Remember, you don't have the luxury of recasting from the command zone, so if you build it wrong, your deck can be very feast or famine. If your secret commander cares about a high creature density, include some classic creature payoffs like overruns for wider boards or ramp for taller ones. If you care more about casting and recasting a certain instant or sorcery, put in some secondary options you would be happy looping, and make sure you have good spellslinger payoffs. Once you have the bones of your strategy, ask yourself what you can add around it to really flesh it out. To illustrate this point, I think it'd be best if I finally go over my Riptide Shapeshifter deck and break down how it all came together. For Riptide, I knew I wanted to run it alongside Gift of Immortality so I could continuously reuse this ability to assemble an array of unpredictable effects. So, true to my advice, I searched for all Azorius or higher commanders that could hopefully tutor for either of these pieces. As I read the 14 options, I started losing hope until I got to the last one, Zur the Enchanter. Obviously, Zur can grab Gift of Immortality, but I wanted to see if there was any way I could use his ability to also find Riptide. So I changed the search to be an enchantment with mana value 4 or less in the Esper color identity and found the perfect card for the job. The Creation of Avacyn is a saga that tutors for a card, makes you lose life equal to its mana value if it's a creature, then throws it directly into play. I honestly couldn't have asked for a better outcome. The one issue is, it makes us exile our own secret commander before coming into play, so we put our very plan in jeopardy. So to round out the interaction, we also have a Zur classic, Curator's Ward, to give our saga hexproof and draw us 2 extra cards when the final chapter resolves. Okay, so far we have a commander that fetches our secret commander through a tutor chain and synergizes with our game plan by grabbing other useful tools like Curator's Ward, Gift of Immortality, and eventually even Training Grounds. If we play Zur naturally on turn 4, we get the Riptide with Gift of Immortality assembled on turn 7. This was a little too slow for me, especially since it's kind of the whole point of the deck, so my next step was slotting in a whopping 14 2-drop ramp pieces to consistently play Zur on turn 3 and get the combo by turn 6. From then came the fun part, picking the various creatures to put in my toolbox. I knew going in that I wanted to keep this deck budget so I could buy it in paper, and this also kept me from slotting in the best-in-class Titans of Esper. Turns out tutoring any creature from your deck to play for 4 mana is pretty strong, and the budget gave me a good excuse to stay away from the Avacyns, Valgavoths, and Consecrated Sphinxes of the world. Not that we aren't without options. There's a good mix of creatures that provide protection, card draw, removal, and other miscellaneous bomb effects. Some of my favorites are Audric and Sphinx of the Steel Winds / Salvation Colossus for an Akroma's Memorial style anthem, or Stormtide Leviathan, an archetype of imagination to shut down opposing combat altogether. Githzerai Monk and Illithid Harvester turns all opponents' creatures into 2/2s with no abilities, and if that's not enough, Massacre Worm can finish the job. Alright, we have our skeleton, albeit 75% of the deck, but now we have to finish the final step. What can we put in here to make all of this work without the Riptide engine? Well, we have a ton of ramp and big valuable battlecruiser creatures creatures, so all we're really missing are low-cost draw and removal to help us survive till the late game, and we can fall back on just hard casting our stuff the old-fashioned way. Of course, most of these are enchantments, so we can find them with Zur, and the others are just efficient spells. If you want to check the deck out, it'll be linked in the description, and by all means, if you want to change the creatures around and make your own spin, feel free to copy the list and go for it. Also, as a quick aside, I actually ended up recording and scripting like all of the video, and then I played the Zur deck. I actually played the Zur deck on stream. I played the deck over on Try and Casually Game Stream with JM, and like spoiler warning, if you're ever gonna watch the VOD, I actually got the dub, baby. I got the dub. JM in the dumpster. Just kidding. Shout out that guy, he's really cool. You should go check out his stream. And anyways, back to the video. I hope this video can inspire you to make a new Secret Commander deck and surprise your next pod. Please make sure to like and subscribe and consider becoming a member to show extra support and have your name shouted out at the beginning of videos. Thanks y'all, I'll see you next time.